The playoffs are pretty much set. There are still a few seeding things that could happen, but the playoff teams are set. You got the Dodgers, the Braves, the Mets, the Padres, and the Phillies on the National League side. And on the American League side, you got the Astros, you got the Yankees, you got the Guardians, the Blue Jays, the Mariners, and the Rays. Those are the 12 teams that will be involved. It all came down to the wire as we expected to. The NL East came down to the final 2 days of the season. The final wild card spot in the National League, that came down to the last week as well. The Phillies end up getting in. The Brewers are the team on the outside left looking in. The Phillies have clinched the first postseason since 2011. I'm so excited for this because playoff baseball in Philly, it became a staple in the game of baseball for a while there. In the Ryan Howard days, all you remember is seeing the Phillies in the playoffs, Citizen Bank going crazy. That crowd was wild. They are back. They had one of the longest playoff droughts in baseball, aside from the Mariners, who we all knew about. But they are in. The Brewers, they are not in. What a disappointment for the Milwaukee Brewers this year. Around the trade deadline and just a little bit before, the Brewers had a 5-game lead in the division, in the NL Central. They looked like one of the best teams in baseball with Freddie Peralta, Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff at the top of that rotation, and they didn't get into the playoffs. What a ridiculous, utter collapse. Now, let's talk about that collapse because I do not put this all on the players. The Brewers, at the trade deadline, were in a great position, right? You're in first place in the NL Central. Your pitching looks fantastic. Just add some offense, and you could do some damage in the playoffs. Not only did they not add offense, they got rid of some of their pitching. One of the best closers in the game of baseball, and I know he was going through a little bit of a tough stretch, Josh Hader, gone. Traded him away. Didn't get much in return. Got Rodgers in return, but he's not as good of a closer. He was good, but not as good of a closer as Josh Hader. You get no offense. You get no return. So not only do you lose your closer, you add no offense at the trade deadline. It threw everybody off that they ended up trading Josh Hader. You hear guys in the clubhouse talking about it right after. Devin Williams himself said, yeah, it's a surprise. It's shocking. I don't really know what to say. You could see it on his face. And of anybody on the Brewers team that trading Josh Hader benefited, it was Devin Williams because he was going to slide into that closer spot. But he was clearly shaken. It shook the team. They went on a downhill spiral. They didn't add offense. The Milwaukee Brewers at the trade deadline were in a great place to make the playoffs, and they got worse. And it is unacceptable. As a fan of baseball and fans of the Brewers should be furious at that front office because it is unacceptable what they did. You trade away one of the best closers in baseball, you get nothing in return, and you do nothing to add to an offense that desperately needed help and could actually do damage in the postseason with given a chance because of how good the pitching is. The Brewers season was a nightmare. I can't believe they didn't make the playoffs, and I do not put a ton of the blame on the players because the front office put this team in no position to win when they had all the chance in the world at the trade deadline. And now here we are, the beginning of October, and the Milwaukee Brewers are not in the playoffs. I can't believe it. Even with the expanded playoff structure, there are 12 teams in this year. There's an extra wild card team on both sides, and the Brewers couldn't get it done. I am disappointed in that front office, and fans should be disappointed in that front office as well because every fan deserves to have a team that, oh, we have a chance to win this year. We are all in. Look at what the Dodgers did last year, bringing in Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Look at what the Seattle Mariners did this year. The longest playoff drought in American sports. And they see that they have a potential to win, and they go out and add the best pitcher available. Is that too much to ask? Apparently so, if you're the Milwaukee Brewers. All they needed was to go out and add some bats and keep the pitching the same, and they would have been in the playoffs. But not only did they not add bats, they got worse, and they messed up the locker room culture in the time being, and it just ended up being an absolute fiasco. But as I mentioned, that extra playoff spot. It's going to make for some exciting baseball this October. I'm really pumped about it. I know a lot of people are really pumped about it.